What's the difference between a Protestant, the normal English guy, a Catholic, normal English guy, and a Muslim? Many now normal English guys. What's the difference? Well, the normal English Protestant, the average, they get married, they have 3 children, they live in a council house, the dad has to work. My dad was a plumber. My mother had to work. She worked in a factory putting springs together for cars. Never had money for a holiday. Everything scrimping and saving. Hard life. But we all got by. We're all fairly happy. Then the Catholic religion. In Northern Ireland, and in some areas in the United Kingdom, well, I take that back. Northern Ireland is in the United Kingdom. 11 children in the average family, because the priest was telling them not to take the pill. Big problem. How can you afford 11 fucking children? Totally impossible. So the benefits are much greater than going and getting a job. But on benefits and doing fiddle work, such as taxi driving and things like that, and working the lump in the olden days, well, the Irish used to work the lump, work in England without paying tax. They could afford a holiday, some of them. And then we have the Muslim. 4 wives. 3, 4 children per wife. Up to 16, 20 kids in the family. How can they afford to have 4 wives and 20 kids? Well, they gotta live off the system, haven't they? So the local council, Labour, give them 4 houses, 1 for each wife. And the husband goes between the 4 houses, has a good time, and produces more children. So they form ghettos. Northern Ireland, they form Catholic ghettos, which eventually the police were too frightened to go into, because they had to work illegally, robbing, stealing cars and wrecking cars and selling spare parts for cars, selling drugs. What do you do when you can't afford to get off the system? And then in the Muslim areas, they've now formed ghettos. The police have to ask permission of the mullah to go into the ghetto. Why? They don't want to see the illicit drug trade. Pakistanis, where did they produce all this heroin and stuff? Pakistan and places like that. And they can bring in lots of illegals, so therefore they can bring in lots of drugs. So claiming on the British system for your 4 wives and your 4 rents, well, they get enough money to buy the houses, because the area becomes so poor, nobody wants to live there, so the price of a house comes down and they can afford to buy the house. It's a great life. 4 wives, lots of children, and enough money where you don't have to work. But it's boring not working. So what do? Sell drugs. Get young white girls onto drugs and use them as prostitutes. What a good idea. Wrecking cars again, stealing cars and selling spare parts for cars. What goes on in these areas where the police are afraid to go? The problem is now, the UK got no money left. So the Catholic ghetto and the Muslim ghetto get bigger and bigger, and one day the bubble's going to burst because you got no money. So what's going to happen? You're going to have fighting. It's another civil war. Politicians don't get that, do they? Equal rights, no discrimination, not telling them to go get a fucking job. Thank God I've left the UK.